Hello everybody, welcome back to Papa's Saw Shop. I'm Papa. Today, I'm right here in the front door here and just packaging up an old goat saw to get sent out where the heck is this one going? I believe this one's going to North Carolina, I think. Well, I ship so damn many of these things, I lose track after a while, but I'm pretty sure this is going to North Carolina. If I remember right, I think there's a fireman out there that's waiting for this one. But anyway, I had a couple questions in the packaging of these old goat saws, and I know that seems a little weird, but I try to clear up everything that I possibly can. I mean, I'm not out to I'm not out to rip anybody off or do anything underhanded or evil or anything like that. I'm just a guy that builds saws. So I kind of wanted to just get all this out in the open. That because somebody got a saw here a week or two ago, and they had I wouldn't say complaints, but they were a little taken aback by what was in the box. And so I'm gonna show you what I got here in this box and what I don't have in the box, and tell you why. So let me get this thing flipped around. There we go. All right. So here's the big old box, that top of the box here, and so basically when you get an old goat saw, this is what you're gonna see. And pardon me losing my voice here. The granddaughter gave me a little cold, so doggone schools are nothing but a petri dish. But anyway, I digress. So, boy, got styrofoam flying everywhere. So basically, you kind of see what I'm doing here. This is real exciting here. There's another one. I packed this doggone thing in here as tight as I possibly can with as much of this styrofoam as I got. So when you get an old goat saw, you're going to get more styrofoam than you'll probably ever need in a lifetime, because I try to get as much of it packed in there as possible so that this thing doesn't move around on us. So, I mean, I'm not going to torture you with watching me load a box full of styrofoam all day. But while I'm doing this, I'll tell you what you don't get, okay? So, this right here is all you're going to get in this box, all right? So a lot of people will say, well, how come there's no owner's manual? How come there's no, well, let me grab another piece of styrofoam here. The reason that there's no owner's manual is because, number one, if you want to know all the numbers and all that on this thing, I'll be more than happy to email them to you, and let you know what it's capable of and all that. But it seems to me, I mean, I know there are some of you guys that are bean counters out there, and you kind of like to know all the statistics and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, guys just order these saws because they need. Pardon me a minute. I gotta grab another piece of styrofoam. Sorry for losing you there. So guys generally just order these saws because they need a damn good saw that's gonna run. And so these saws are intended for the professional. If you don't know how to run a saw, if you got to look at an owner's manual to figure out how to run this thing, you probably should not be buying this damn thing. So, and I don't mean to be rude, but these saws, I don't build these saws to play around with. These aren't a toy. I mean, these things are dangerous. They'll kill you. So there's that. So let me flip this back around here since you got to watch me load styrofoam. So I do email every person that buys one. Once you order this, and it's all built and it's tested and it's gone through all of its paces and all that kind of stuff. These things get tested more than any saw I know of. I mean, honestly. Um, basically, what happens with them is that when I sit back here and I build these things, every single piece, um, and we're getting a lot more streamlined now. I mean, now that we're doing more of them, but I touch every single piece that goes into them. Everything has been checked and double checked, and boy, pardon me, we got a really windy day out there, and shit's flying all over the damn place. So, um, but anyway, we double check everything in there, and then it once it's all put together, then I run it here. I run it a cold start, and then let it cool down, and then the next day I come out and I run it, adjust it, get it to warm up. I cut a little wood out back with it, and I mean little wood, um, not anything strenuous or anything. I'm just making sure everything is going to be okay. And then um, once it's warmed up, I make sure that all the settings are where I want them to be and everything runs good. And then it goes out in the field. And it generally goes out there, and I don't have any guards on it or anything like that. It's just a plain old saw. Um, and it goes out there with the instructions of give this to the guy who will tear the crap out of it. And I want to see it if it doesn't come back um, with really filthy dirty and maybe a couple scratches in it. I probably don't want to see it back. Take it back out and test it again. I want it to go through hell when it gets out there. I want it by the time you get it in your hands. This saw, if it had a mind of its own, it'd say, "Oh, geez, I'm in heaven. This is nothing compared to what they did to me back there." And that's my goal. Before you get it in your hands, I want to see whatever's going to break, whatever's going to fall apart, whatever's going to fall off. I want to see it. And so after it passes that, and it goes out in the field and it gets the crap beat out of it for a couple of weeks, then it comes back here, and I tear it all the way back down again. And I don't split the case or anything, but we basically take all the covers off, everything, and that's when I go through every wire, every gasket, make sure everything is still sealed up, everything is still where it ought to be. I give it the best clean I possibly can. So let me get to that point. Now, when you get these, if you see some sawdust on your saw, I think I've said this in videos before, but let me apologize one more time. I am very sorry that I missed a couple of pieces of sawdust. Um, that is remnants of the hell that your saw went through before you got it. So I've seen other places, where they build a saw, they put it in a little, sterilized box, and they start it and go, "Oh yeah, sounds pretty good," and that's not good enough around here. Um, so I want to make damn sure that when you get it, this thing starts up and goes. Um, if you get a duplicate saw, and I had this issue a little bit, and I've kind of been thinking about it, but if you get a duplicate saw, now again pardon the throat there. Again, I don't call it a copy saw. I don't call it a clone saw. It's a duplicate saw. Okay? So what that means is that if you copy the original 100 times, the 101st time is probably going to be a little bit different than that very first one. And so if you put it next to another saw that looks just like this duplicate saw, you might say, "Oh, well, this is different. That's different." Well, it's because on this particular saw, now maybe on that saw, maybe the manufacturers or engineers or whoever said, "Oh, well, that'll work fine." But in my experience, it's been that doing it this way seems to work better for this particular saw. So you might see a few things that are like, this isn't quite. It's believe me, I've been through that saw a few times. Now, can I make some mistakes? Of course I can. You know, I have I have certainly made my share of mistakes in this business, and I'd like to say I don't make them now, but well, it happens, you know. And if it does happen to you, well, I'm very sorry, and I'll do anything to make it right with you. But but for the most part, most pieces, if they're not there, you know, send me a message or email me, call me, whatever, and just say, hey, Papa, this ain't here. Did you forget this, or um, or did you leave this out intentionally? So um, now, just about done, I think. I don't think I got anything else. But it's real important to know that when you get your saw, when and you'll know it's coming because you'll get an email that says, I think the subject line is power is on the way. So if you so if you get an email from me and it says power is on the way, you got a saw in the mail. It's on the way to you. Now, in that email, that's where you're going to find stuff about the warranty, about how we want you to run it, and the oil mix, and the preferred oils, and all that kind of stuff. Um, Now I send that with the old goat saws. With the duplicate saws, I generally don't send any literature or anything because it's a duplicate saw. So I mean, whatever whatever the original, and whether it's a Steel or Husqvarna or whatever it is, whatever duplicate I'm sending, um, if you want to know, you just they're built exactly the way, they're built exactly the way the originals are. Only these are just built with better materials. So I mean, if you know what a Ford F-150 pickup does, do you really need to look at the owner's manual when you buy the second one? If you know, so I mean, um, if you really want me to send you some literature, I certainly can. But for the most part, I always just figure it's a waste of your time and a waste of mine. We don't read those things anyways. I mean, you already know you're ordering. If you're ordering an old goat saw, you're ordering one of the most powerful saws in the world. Um, you already know what you're getting. You've already done your research. You already, more than likely you've probably either called me or texted me or messaged me or emailed me or something, and we've probably went over with a fine-tooth comb exactly what you want. So I could send it to you all in writing, and you're going to look at it and go, "Oh, I've already talked to him about all this. What the hell do I need that for?" So that's kind of why I don't send that. So, um, so anyway, I'm going to show you this box right here, and I'm fixing to put tape on it. So, um, well, there's something else blowing around. I'll tell you what, we're gonna get whipped around here today. So anyhow, um, that's all I got for you today. I just want to let you know that how we do these as far as shipping these out, and what you get and what you don't get. And I'm not trying to take anybody for a ride. There's I don't think I've addressed this very simple thing, and I think a lot of people get these saws and they expect to have something in there, that hey, thank you very much, or but the fact is, I send you an email with all that. I let you know all that, and maybe you'll keep the owner's manual. In my experience, most guys don't. And if you do, it gets thrown into some desk drawer somewhere, never to be found again. That's where mine normally go. So, but if you want one in paper, I will certainly send you one. But if not, you'll get it in an email with the confirmation number, the shipping ID number, tracking number, and all that kind of stuff. Um, but anyway, just want to address that real quick, and that's all I got. This cold is just kicking my ass here, so talking is a pain in the butt. So I'm going to take off, get down to the mailbox, and get this doggone thing in the mail and make somebody very happy. And until next time, y'all be careful out there, and happy motoring.